And for this, so my name is Bukola Orunki. I'm the Treasurer for State Nigeria Chapter, and I'm the co-moderator for this webinar session. With me as a co-moderator is Adebomi Akibo. He is the Secretary General for Internet Society Nigeria Chapter. So once again, I welcome everyone to this webinar session titled How to Attract Opportunities and Engage at Global Internet Fora. We hope at the end of this session, our participants will be enlightened on how to engage in the internet ecosystem globally and also contribute their quota in keeping the internet open and safe for everyone. We look forward to learning from our lined up experts, and then we want to learn from them to how we can engage in the various organizations and what are the opportunities that are available for everyone from their organizations. So list of people we have here, we have Siranush Verdun from ICANN. We have Sarah Kidding that has been a beneficiary of Mozilla Fellowship. And we have Alejandra Preto, who is with Internet Society. Also, we have Anja Gengo from IGF, Internet Governance Forum. And finally, we have Brice Abba from Afrinet. So right now, I will yield the floor to Siranush from ICANN. And after Siranush, Brice will take the floor. Over to you, Siranush. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bukola, and welcome everyone. It's my honor and pleasure to be here with ISOC Nigeria chapter members and introduce you some programs which will help you to learn more about ICANN and how you can become a part of the ICANN community. And that's why my presentation called ICANN and You, a stakeholder journey for you, how to be part of the global internet community. My name is Siranush Vardanyan, and I am managing the fellowship program at ICANN. I will talk about several programs which will help you to start your smooth entry into the ICANN world. And I will be speaking about fellowship and next gen at ICANN program and general the newcomers program and one more new pilot program which we just recently started. So the major approach is diversity program. So all of those programs are making sure to bring diversity into the evolution of the multi-stakeholder model. And as you may know, ICANN is itself a multi-stakeholder model, so everyone can find a place there. The fellowship program started in 2007, and we recently celebrated 15th anniversary, and I will talk about some numbers later, but the major idea behind this program is to foster opportunities for individuals to become an active part of ICANN community. And the criteria to be a part of this program based on the age is 21 and up from underserved and underrepresented communities. As you may know, there are 3 ICANN meetings during the year, and one of them is annual general meeting, which usually take place in October. We just completed the annual general meeting. The next one is in March. Usually take place in March, and it is community forum, and in June every year there is a policy forum. So for those annual general meeting and community forum, everybody, all the newcomers who are from any part of the world who meet the criteria of being from underserved and underrepresented communities are more than welcome to apply. Currently, actually, just yesterday, we launched the opening of application rounds for Policy Forum, and this forum is limited to alumni only. So those who had been part of the fellowship program once, they can apply for the Policy Forum. And why I said once, because you can become a fellow 3 times. And the idea behind this is, for the first time you apply, you are selected, you are a complete newcomer, you are coming and learning. We are providing the support, and there is a capacity development program which you are going through. But that first fellowship gives you an idea where you want to find your place within that multi-stakeholder model. So you can be selected second time, and this is when you already go deep dive into the community where you want to be. And the third time you can be a fellow when you are already part of the community, and you are part of different discussions, mailing list, policy development discussions. So you are active participant of the community. So there is a process for being a fellow as a newcomer, and then be a the journey is starting from newcomer and be a part of the community through the fellowship program. The Next Gen program is a bit different from the fellowship program. So it was launched at ICANN 49. And it is for students, PhD students who are from 18 to 30 years by the time of the application. And the Next Gen program is regional based program, which means, for example, if the next ICANN meeting 76 meeting is in Cancun, Mexico, it is Latin America and Caribbean. So students only from that region, Latin America and Caribbean, can apply, while the fellowship program is global. So everybody from any part of the world who meet this criteria can apply whenever it take place. So as I mentioned, fellowship is a capacity development program, and Next Gen is regionally based program. Newcomers is there is no specific funding process for newcomers program, and I will speak about funding for the fellowship and Next Gen later, but everybody can come to any ICANN meeting because the ICANN meetings are open. The registration is open, there is no fee, and after 2.5 years of having only virtual meetings, we are now having hybrid type of meetings, which means anybody from any part of the world can join virtually, even to any of the discussions taking place. So for every ICANN meeting, we select up to 40 fellows and up to 12 Next Gen participants. And we provide the travel support, accommodation, and we are providing stipend for to cover the costs attending an ICANN meeting for both fellowship and Next Gen program. For newcomers, as I mentioned, there is no funding, but the doors are open, and if you have any questions, there is an email engagement at icann.org, which you can ask your questions. But I will provide also at the end the links to those programs, and I think the organizers will share this PowerPoint presentations with you, so you will have access to the information to learn more. So what is the process of being selected or become a fellow or become a next gen. So we do an outreach and we share through social media the application rounds when they are opened, like we did yesterday on our ican.org website. We do similar sessions to different students, to different stakeholders, like the session like this one we are doing today. So we are promoting the programs so people know that there are ways to join if you have financial challenges or you have the participation challenges. So here where we can come up with the support. And then there is an online application form. We never get the CVs or hard copies of any applications. There is a link on our website to the application portal where you can go and apply within the announced time frame. So for now, ICANN 77 application round, as I mentioned, is open for alumni only, and it opens usually for a month. And then we have a selection committee members who are assigned by the ICANN community. So ICANN.org organization doesn't do the selection of the fellows, but we support and facilitate the process of selection. And whenever the group is finalized and the selection is complete, there is a pre-meeting preparation start. So we provide the mentorship, which again, mentors are assigned from ICANN community. So people who are from the community, who are active members of the community, they are coming and supporting newcomers or returning fellows to learn more. And I'm happy to see here several fellowship alumni who had been mentors, like Sarah Kane, like Caleb, Bukola. They all supported newcomers during their fellowship journey and stakeholder journey, and are currently an active members of ICANN community. So there is also the ICANN Learn courses, which we request as mandatory for all selected fellows. And I will also talk about the resources available for you if you even are not part for any of those programs, but would like to learn and join. So at the end, you together with your mentor are preparing your personalized agenda. So you are getting ready for actual meeting participation. There are sessions on site during the meeting dates, which are mandatory for fellows and next geners. And the idea behind the fellowship program is to support fellows to engage and network with the community so they can learn more and then find their place. After the completion of those programs, there is a report writing, and due to the recent changes and community consultations, the ICANN community wanted to see those reports. And starting with ICANN 65, we are posting those reports, which are written by the fellows. So fellows, each cohort after completion work on their own report, and we just support them to prepare it and then post, and which is publicly available. And definitely the continued engagement is really appreciated. That's the way how the process behind those programs works. As I mentioned, this is up to 40 are selected. Here are several pictures of different occasions or fellowship round completions. And the important source, the fellowship program itself is an important source for the ICANN community to find active people from the region. So if you are an interested, a passionate professional in your region and you would like to be a part of the global decisions, here the place where you can come, and you are definitely needed for ICANN community to become a part of it. So as of now, we provided 1,000 during the 15 years of implementation. We provided 1,283 fellowships. And you see that the number for individual fellows is 839, which means the rest, the people get 2 times or 3 times fellowships. And actually, you can see here that Africa region is second after Asia Pacific. So we usually are receiving a lot of strong applications from African region. And the program itself very competitive. It's very difficult to get the first fellowship without doing pre-research, pre-learning. That's why I really encourage, before you start thinking about applying for the fellowship, it's very important to go through the resources available for you. I do have a time constraint, so I will not focus on the surveys conducted, but a couple of words about the next gen. So there are 12 slots, as I said, and also the same process is for next gen. Everybody is provided with the mentor, and participants are encouraged to share the prepared information with ICANN community on the topic they are working or on their PhD research, etc. And there are numbers also for NextGen. It's less than fellowship, because as you can see, fellowship programs is 3 times more participants for every round than for NextGen. But it's also a very competitive program, and whenever the ICANN comes to African region, I will encourage those students apply for that program. It's a great opportunity to start with the next gen and then move to the fellowship and then to the community. Actually, Sarah Kay, who is a part of this program and is participating in this session, she took that whole path, and I'm very proud having her now leading being a leader in ICANN at large community. So these resources are very important for you to go through. The ICANN Learn portal, which I mentioned, it's huge resource for the newcomers and even for returning fellows or next geners, and even for community members. So it's free portal of online courses. The courses provide certificate of completion, and some of those courses certificates are mandatory for you while applying to the NextGen and the fellowship program. So I will encourage you to go through the resources on ICANN Learn portal, register there, and get through the available courses. So ICANN.org is producing regional newsletters, and definitely I will encourage you to sign up for African regional newsletter. Monthly newsletters provide the updates on what's going on in your region and what to expect, what is coming. So what is coming helps also you to understand where you can be a part of it. So if there is any event, any webinar, any training is taking place in your region, you definitely can apply and be part of it. So as I mentioned, ICANN meetings are hybrid now, and every time prior to every meeting, we are posting the full schedule. So you can decide wherever you want to go and what sessions to participate. All the sessions are recorded, and the recording are available after each meeting. So you see also the links to useful web pages. You can learn about newcomers. You can definitely learn about acronyms, because ICANN world is full of acronyms, and it's very important that you get used to those acronyms and start learning about them. So ICANN is doing policy has two functions, policy and technical. And there are two links there about learning about policy development support and technical functions. So for you to understand what is ICANN multi-stakeholder model and ICANN org itself, you can go definitely to those links and just get acquainted with the information. Of course, there are tons of regional events which are implemented. In African region, recently there was a DNS forum. So there are always schools on internet governance. I will encourage you to become part of those type of events. So sign up for the newsletter and learn more about upcoming events in your own region. Here are the links to ICANN Fellowship Program and ICANN Next Gen Program. And then, as I mentioned, the emails if you want to learn more related to newcomers. Just one sentence about the new pilot, which is ICANN for Beginners virtual program. If you are complete new, you had never been part of any fellowship or any Next Gen programs, you never been part of ICANN meetings, there are series of webinars implemented, and it's just piloted within the framework of ICANN for Beginners virtual program, and it is complete virtual. So anyone can apply. There is no selection process. There is no restriction. There is only your desire and your passion to learn more and to be open to learn more. So here are our social media links, which you can share, sign up and follow the information. We always post any announcement, except on our web. Besides that, we are posting on our website. We also share through all media channels, which ICANN is using. That's all actually I wanted to share with you, and I'm sure that this presentation will be shared with the participants. So now I will stop sharing, and if there is any question, I will be happy to take them.
Yeah, thank you very much, Siranush. And I'm sure most of our participants have learned a lot from that brief presentation. But there will be Q&A session after all the speakers have taken the floor. In the meantime, I will encourage our participants to drop their question in the chat so that you can attend to them almost immediately. So right now, before I call in Brice, I would love to give the floor to Caleb Ogundele. He is the Internet Society Nigeria chapter president, and he has even benefited from most of the opportunities that we will be talking about. So Caleb Ogundele, you have the floor. Give your brief opening speech before I invite Brice to the floor. Thank you.
Hello and good morning, everyone from this part of the world. My name is Caleb, and I'm the president of Internet Society Nigerian chapter. I am very, very glad and excited to welcome everyone. I know this was supposed to come way before Siranush's presentation, but we just had to quickly do that for time. I'm glad to welcome everyone, especially to this webinar. And for me, I see that it's a great opportunity for everyone to learn. I have been a beneficiary of most of the fellowships, except probably for Mozilla, which I think I haven't shown interest in due to certain circumstances. But one thing I would want to do in this particular webinar is to encourage you to be open-minded. Try and come in to soak in all you can learn. I also started most of these fellowship opportunities way longer. I did not get my fellowship in my first application, probably because I didn't have people to hold my hands while I was trying to learn most of the stuff around what makes me a good fellow to participate in some of those programs. It's a volunteer opportunity. I would want to encourage us to not just stop here, but one of the set of people that I'm interested in seeing that they really, really benefit from these opportunities are those people we've trained at the Nigerian School on Internet Governance. We've trained quite a number, at least I can probably say we've trained over 1,000 persons at the Nigerian School on Internet Governance. I'd like to see some of those fellows move up the ladder to become the next ICANN, Afrinic, AfriSig, ISOC, or maybe Mozilla fellows that we can have around. So let this be like a challenge to all of us as I look forward to the next speaker sharing some of the knowledge that they will share with the community, and we continue to grow, specifically for the next generation of fellows, because most of us are all retired fellows now. I can probably put in that most of us are moving away from the fellowship program to core volunteer leadership programs within some of these organizations. So please take full opportunity of this, and I wish you all the best in all your future applications as you participate in all the fellowship programs. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Caleb Ogundele, for that. So without further ado, let me yield the floor to Brice Abba. He's from Afrinic. Over to you, Brice.
Good morning and good afternoon from where we are. You are, and thank you, Bukola, for introducing me. I'm going to talk about the internet, the Afrinic Internet Development Program that we have for our community, and under which we have many other programs that I'm going to present to this Nigeria community. I'm going to do like small introduction about Afrinic and a small introduction about the internet in Africa, and explain the why of those programs and list our programs. So Afrinic is the regional internet registry. So for those who are not familiar with this definition, it's one of the 5 organizations in the world that the core functions are: 1, allocate IPv4, IPv6, and autonomous system numbers to their region. So Afrinic is the one dealing with Africa region. And another function of this regional internet registry is to coordinate regional resource policy. So we help our community to develop the policies, the rules that Afrinic is going to use to assign those IPs to its community member. And the last one is to ensure that those IPs are unique by maintaining the WHOIS database. So we are 3 core functions: IP numbers, assignment, ensure that those IP are unique, and coordinate regional resource policy. We have been created in 2005. We have 52 staff, full-time staff. We have over 2,000 resource members. We have exactly 2,150 something members. And we have the HQ in Mauritius. We have 3 data centers. The big one is South Africa. We have in Kenya and Mauritius. We are now working to have one in the west between Cote d'Ivoire and Nigeria, and then the one in the north, and another one in Central Africa. Internet is very important for Africa, and as you can see, internet has a rapid growth in Africa, and Afrinic has contributed by providing IP numbers that make it possible for African networks and African devices to get connected to the internet. And we still have a lot to do, because we have like over 30% of internet penetration. Okay, I will respond to this question at the end. And I had the question, I will respond to at the end. So I was saying that we have over 2,000 members, and we have been able to connect many networks and devices to the internet because we are providing those IP numbers. And but we still know that we have many other people and networks to get connected to the internet, because for the entire Africa, we have only 2,000 networks. So this means that it's nothing compared to the organization and the people that we have in Africa. We have developed this Africa Internet Development Program because we realized that Africa has still 36 internet penetration rate, and we think that we need to excuse me. So you think that we need to do something to help connect many other community members to the internet, and to make it happen, we need to help them through some programs, from some funding, from some facilitator, from some experts. And this is one of the reasons we have created this internet development program. So we have like 6 key programs. We have the technical community development program, we have the fellowship program, we have research collaboration program, Africa IGF and ICT Initiative Development Program, Critical Infrastructure Development Program, and Diversity in ICT Program. So I'm going to give a small introduction or definition of each of those programs. So the Technical Community Development Program is where we are providing funds and export for community in Africa. When you want to organize a technical event and you need some support, you need to get some experts, you need to get some funds, you can Africa can assist you in doing that. And the idea behind to ensure that we are helping your local community to grow, because we are bringing capacity building, we are bringing experts to you to be able to organize your event. So this year we have partnered with over 15 technical community in Africa, and we give them some fund, and also we're present to give some presentations on technical topics. We have the fellowship program. So this is one of our popular program. It's one of the old programs that we are having at Afrinic. So in 2020, before COVID, we have over 2,000 applications for only 15 seats. So this to say we have Bukula and Caleb that were also Afrinic fellows, and they have been returning fellows as well. So returning fellow is like kind of mentor. So it's one former fellow that we take to site to help the new fellows to get, to mentor them, to induct them in the African internet ecosystem and the Africa ecosystem at large. And we are sponsored over 230 community members. So it's individual, and when you want to apply, you have to be registered on our mailing list, and also know a bit about what Afrinic is doing, because before to be able to apply, you have to take a set of questions, and based on the percentage, you will be redirected to the registration portal. So if you don't pass this first step, you have to go back and read and learn about what is Afrinic and what we do. So the objective is to expose our community member, individual, to what we are doing, how policy, resource policy are developed, how community members are discussing internet in Africa. So they are one of those objectives that behind the fellowship program. Research collaboration program is another program that we are also offering to our community members. So we partner with universities and colleges where we have PhD students that have projects that can help our community, that are Africa community. It can be in research, can be statistics, it can be we have a topic, a kind of set of topics that that we want. And when you are a PhD student and you're working one of the topic, we can partner with your university and see how to help you to create an application or to create something that can be used for our community at large. We have a ICT program. The diversity ICT program is also very important for us, because what we notice is that we, as a technical organization, we realize that we have very few women in this community. We have very few women in this community. So, and we also realized that we have very few people with disability in this community. So this is why it was important for Afrinic to think about this ICT and diversity in ICT program, where we are providing funds for women and people living with disability to be able to organize some activities, to be able to get some experts, to be able to be exposed to what we are doing. So we are funding those organizations that are working in this area, and we also provide, as I just said, expertise to come and give them courses and so on. So we also have fund for this, and we have this year we have like over 15 of this initiative that receives fund from Afrinic. We have the Africa Internet Governance Forum and the ICT Initiative Development Program. So here we have fund for country level and regional level IGF. So when the internet is now used by everybody in the board, so internet governance is a big issue for everybody, and we want to give awareness to our community, African community. So we are working with their local chapter, IGF local chapter. We are giving them funds. We are giving them facilitators when they want to organize their national level IGF, and also the regional and the continental IGF. Africa is also there, and giving them courses and the fund to be able to organize the event. So we have been able to fund over 100 national and regional internet governance forums. So this year we have like close to 20 events related to IGF that we have been able to assist. The last internet development program that Africa has, the critical infrastructure development program. So here we are giving IP numbers and servers for free to community members in Africa who want to set up like an internet exchange point or any related internet critical infrastructure in their country. So as I just said, we are giving servers for free, and we are giving IP numbers for free. So you don't have to pay membership fee to get IPv4, IPv6, and autumn system numbers. You are getting all those IPs for free, and if need be, you can also receive a server where we can install some services, DNS, Enica system from Afrinic and many other partners. So it's very important programs that we also have. And another program that another initiative that is also fall under this critical infrastructure, we are giving 50% discount to universities in the membership fee. We are giving the 50% discount to universities and colleges that want to have their own IP block and own autonomous system number, to have their own identity on the internet. So this is an information that is very important as well to know. We have some statistics here. The presenter will be shared. The presentation will be shared to you, so we'll see the statistics. So these are some statistics for this year. And we also have capacity building development that is doing great job for our community members as well. We have trainings that is available on our platform learn.afrin.net, self-paced. So you go go there, you connect, and you have the courses in IPv6 and in DNS and many other courses that you can take. If you want to get certified, you can also get the international certification IPv6 66 that we have. So after taking your courses online, you can also pay and pass your IPv6 certification. We have IPv6 deployment help desk. So we create this project based on the survey that we organized in 2018, where after training 10,000 engineers, we realized that IPv6 development, the adoption was still low in Africa. So we created a survey where the community members said that they were not comfortable in configuring IPv6 alone. So the IPv6 deployment updates we created to our members and to assist them in the IPv6 adoption. When you want to deploy IPv6 in your network and you find any issue, you can connect to a deployment help desk and explain your problem, and we are going to organize a Zoom call where we are going to take you through this issue. We have live events also. We have what we are calling e-deployathon, and we did that also during the Nigeria PIF this year. And this deployathon is where we African staff are coming on site and helping our members to deploy IPv6 in their network live. So when if you are our member and you want to deploy IPv6 in your network, and we are coming to your country, you have to register. We'll come there and we'll take you through. We'll take you through the issue and try to fix the issue for you. We also have the e-deployathon that we have created because of COVID. So now, instead of we have been in the situation where we're not able to travel, so we create the e-deployathon where we're taking our members in many rooms in Zoom, many Zoom rooms to help them per organization to configure IPv6 on their system. So this is what I have for you. If you want to learn more about African Development Internet Developer Program, you can click on this link. It's african.net participate-idp. I will share the link to the slide to the organizer that will share to you. So thank you, and I hope that it was informative for you, and I would like to thank you for following. Because I have another call, I won't be able to wait until today. So if the organizer allow me, I can take the question that was asked to me.
Yeah, thank you very much, Brice, for that. I will suggest that participants, they drop their question in the chat for you to address right now, because we are pressed for time. So I would love to invite Alexander Preto from Internet Society to take the floor. So once again, our members, please drop your questions for Brice in the chat so that he can address it immediately. So I yield the floor to you, Alexander.
Thank you. I would like to share my screen if possible, please. So,
yes, you can. Please.
Yeah, see that you stop now.
Please.
Okay, can you see the slides?
Yes, I can. Yes.
Perfect, thank you. So thank you for inviting me. I'm Alejandra Prieto, Director of Fellowships at the Internet Society. And today I'm going to talk about what we call empowerment programs. We have several programs at the Internet Society that are there to empower what we call Internet champions. So I will spend some time talking about the two different categories of programs that we have. One hand fellowships, one hand trainings and e-learning. And at the end, I will talk a little bit more about the alumni network that we are building this year. So please, as with the previous presenter, I will need to leave just after my presentation. I have another call. So if you have questions, just write them in the chat directly, and I will try to answer those while I'm presenting or at the end of my presentation. Thank you. So this is what we actually want on the internet society. We really want the internet, that it's an internet that is for everyone. And we do that through different options, but all of them with one vision, that is really by building, promoting, and defending a bigger and a stronger internet. Unfortunately, sometimes, and we all know that the internet is actually really important for every one of us. Yeah, it was part of the born, I would say, thanks to the community of people that work years and years really hard to make it happen, to make it grow. However, sometimes it has a little bit of threats and challenges that we need to face. We cannot take the internet for granted. If we don't protect it and if we don't defend it, it will disappear as it is, as we know. So that's why we've built different programs to empower people through skills development, mainly to become internet champions who take action. We want these people to grow and strengthen the internet, and an internet that is for everyone, everywhere, and it's open, globally connected, secure, and trustworthy. And at the same time, if we have this internet, it will benefit the world's diverse population equitably. So that's our main objective. We really want these people to feel empowered and able to fight against the threats that the internet is facing and defend it. So together with our partners, we have several partners that I will present later in my presentation. We've developed what we call empowerment programs that are actually programs that equip people with tools and knowledge that are needed to accelerate their careers, to make their voices heard. Sometimes we know that they don't have a seat at a table in different events. We're talking today about global event, global participation in different places. We want their voices to be heard, also to be part of a global network, because as you know, the closer you're together with people, when you feel part of a group, when you are together, the impact of your work is always higher and more powerful. So we know that, and we want these people to be part of that community. And at the end, of course, shape the future of the internet. And as I said, an internet that it's the one that we want, that is for everyone who needs it. I mentioned the word internet champion already twice, I think, because this is what we need at the internet ecosystem. We identified that there were some gaps out there in terms of like talent and profiles that we need in the internet ecosystem. We identified this internet champion as the profile we need, that it's a person who integrates the multidisciplinary perspective in creating solutions. So we were hearing from all the presenters, the multi-stakeholder approach, all these multidisciplinary activities that we all need to do to have the internet that we want. But at the same time, these people, these internet champions, they have to innovate. It's not that they stay as they are right now and the internet does not evolve. The internet evolves every single day, if I may say. So they really need to innovate, but never in a way that it's completely out of control. The innovation comes from perspective like openness, security, and trustworthiness. So that's really important. And at the same time, they need to advocate for the internet way of professional. When we talk about the internet way, it's the way that the internet has to work. We call it the internet way of networking, but it's this ideal that at the internet society, we think the internet should be and should behave. So it's really open, it's global. It's something that we can trust and it's secure. And at the same time, it has key aspects like properties that are what they are and they cannot be destroyed. If we have different options than another internet that it's not respecting those principles, then the internet wouldn't be the one that we all want and need. So that's what we consider internet champions. And we realize that there are not many, or not at least not enough out there. So we need to empower and equip more and more and more of these internet champions, so they can be our heroes. So you could be one of those. And as I said, we have different programs. So 2 big categories, fellowships and training and e-learning. Those are mainly courses that are online, but also now we are starting with face-to-face courses too. Now that the pandemic is giving us a truce, we could maybe move forward with some face-to-face. And all of them, if they complete the programs, some specifics, they will join an alumni network. So let me now talk about the different programs. So let's start with the fellowships. So our fellowships have one main goal, that it's equipped internet champions with skills and knowledge, empowering them to defend an open, globally connected, secure, and trustworthy internet for everyone. That's the main goal. That's what we have as the overall goal for our programs. And we do it differently depending on the program and depending on the profile of people we are targeting. So we have 3 main programs that I'm leading. There are others that I will present, but these ones are kind of like the ones that are specifically for talented people, the internet champions. And depending on the profiles and the goal, they will apply or not for another one or the other one. So the one that you can see is these 3 that are on the screen. So we launched it at the beginning of this year, program that it's called Mid-Career Fellowship. That this program equips global mid-career internet champions. When I'm saying mid-career, it's people with at least 10 years of experience in the internet ecosystem, with the knowledge and skills to enable inclusive, innovative, holistic, and strategic leadership. So this program is all around leadership, internet leadership. So those are the ones that are already in the system, working in any category: technology, policy, in a governmental part, academia, teaching people. They are already working there, and they've been working for at least 10 years, but they are missing something that it will help them be the leaders that we need, and we are missing in some of the part of the sector. So this program, it's 6 months long, and I will explain later more details. We have 15 fellows for this program every year. Then we had another one that we launched last year, that it's a similar goal, I would say, equip people, but in this case, those in their early career with less than 10 years of experience. See, I'm talking about 8 years of experience, not 8. So it's really practical internet experience. So if you have less than 10, you can apply for the early career fellowship and get the practical knowledge skills for contribute to the development of the internet. So this one is really the doers. They are people that are starting their careers and they want to run some projects. So they learn about project management and all these things. So they can be these actors that we need to make things happen and defend the internet. And the last program I'm presenting here is our oldest program that evolved from different names, I would say structures. So it was at the beginning called IGF Ambassador Program. Then we had in parallel what it was called the Youth at IGF Fellowship. Then in 2019, we merged both programs and we launched the IGF Youth Ambassador Program. And from next year, we are evolving again this program that it was only focused on the global IGF. So we really equip the next generation of leaders to be kind of like to get the skills and knowledge they need to have a role in the Internet Governance Forum, the global one that I guess Anya will talk more later. So they can have a seat at a table and raise their hands and be part of that forum. But we are going to send people back to travel. We've been fully online for the last 2 years due to the pandemic. Talking about the idea of having people again attending physically the different events, we realized that maybe we could diversify, and instead of just sending them to one event that is the global ITF, we can diversify, sending them to maybe the NRIs, plus the global, maybe another meeting. Those meetings that are the place where policies are discussed and where these internet champions can have an impact. So this is going to be, again, an evolution of an existing program that in 2023 we will do. And I put in 12 months here because that would be like a running. So we select the ambassadors, and then they will be sent to different events that are happening in a year. So that's why it will be one cohort, one selection, a pool of champions, but then sent to different events. So it's something that I think someone is unmuted. Yeah, thank you. So more to come. I don't have the details yet, but let me explain now the different details of the program. So a little bit quickly, because if not, we will cover maybe too much time. So the mid-career has 5 key models that are on internet critical properties and enablers. That's what we call, and I said before, that we need to defend. Digital transformation and key internet issues, digital future and strategic foresight, system and design thinking, and leadership and decision making. As you can see, we have great partners, universities, Oxford Internet Institute, the Lee Kuan Yew School of Policy, Public Policy from Singapore University, University of Queensland, Sciences Po in France, so international and well-known universities that are delivering these models. And at the end, these guys will get all what they need to become the leaders that we need. And we ask them to work on different case studies and activities. And the final event is the symposium that is taking place in December 14th of December. I will put in the chat later the link for you to register if you want to attend and see what these mid-career fellows are doing, because they are really impressive and they have been working hard for several months on different cases that you will love to hear. So I will send that to you later. The other one is the early career fellowship topics, internet ecosystem, trending issues. But in this case, we are talking about more project management, communications, and advocacy, because as I said, these guys are doers, are the guys that we need there to speak, to raise their hands, to talk about, to take the mic and to advocate for a global internet. So again, these guys are also working on some project work, and we are closing applications for this program tomorrow. So if you feel that you can apply, it's a little bit too short, but you will still have 24 hours, a little bit more, because we close tomorrow at 23 hours, 59 minutes UTC. So you still have 1.5 days to apply if you feel that you can apply. And then this is the last program, that it's the oldest one that we are going to kind of like evolve, as I said, and redefine a little bit. Or the main topic is internet governance. That would stay the same. So having people talking about internet governance and be present at those events that are key events, and they need to have a seat at the table. So the dates are still to decide, but most probably will be open in around maybe March, April next year. So please stay tuned. These are some of the partners that I mentioned, great partners. And then there are other 3 programs that we also have that are more specific on topics. So manners, technical, is really about road and security. Then the ITF policy program is for policymakers, that only if we have travel, we will have it. If not, it's not worth it. But I think we will have travel next year, so we will maybe have this program too. Sorry, and a new one that is called the Pulse Fellowship, that it's really for our measurement work around the internet. So we will have people analyzing and getting all the part, the academic part, internet things, limitations, and all the data that we need. So this one is new, and you will know more about it in 2023. those were the fellowships. Now let me quickly explain a little bit the trainings that we have. So we have trainings, online trainings that are accessible for everyone, and we really want them to help us grow and strengthen the internet. So these trainings are really combining 3 key aspects. So really training, so opportunities for you to get educational and working opportunities, I would say. So it's really training. Engagement, because if you complete some of the programs, you will be in touch with people and you will get access to internet study projects, and you can actually benefit your community being engaged. And at the end, you can take action. Remember that that's what we want. We want internet champions who take action. And being this, you can connect the unconnected, you can champion some protocols that keep the internet secure, bridge the gap between policymakers and technical experts, and of course, build, promote, and defend the network that is the main goal that we all have. These are the courses that we have online, and you can just enroll. It's not an application process as it is for the fellows. This is just you enroll. It's first serve, first arrive, first serve. So there are limited spaces, limited spots. Every time we open moderator courses, you enroll and you get access. So it's not a selection, it's just you go and you enroll. And if there are enough spaces, you get a spot. And the key courses that we are now having are the ones that you can see on screen. As you can see, there are technical courses, but also governance policy courses, encryption, basic community networks. So you see that there are many for everyone, I would say, for all kind of profiles you can apply and you can enroll in these courses. And if you don't have, for whatever reason, you cannot get enroll in the moderator version, you always have the self-paced that you can also add if you are in the moderator, of course, that it's always for you, that you can just go complete these courses on privacy, digital footprints, IXP 2.0, how to write an internet impact brief. We are having one on internet security soon. So there are many ones that are kind of like for you. I'm gonna put in the chat a link to everything that I'm mentioning here so you can have, but thank you, Buka, for sharing the link to the Early Career Fellowship in the chat. And finally, the alumni network. So if you complete a fellowship program or a track, I would say at least 3 courses together, you will get access to an interactive network of empowered internet champions who can connect, develop their skills, collaborate, and lead the way to defend the internet. So the main goals of this alumni network that we've just launched in Community Week, September 2022, is that you will get quality connections, access to lifelong learning, and be the leaders that the community needs. So it's really an attractive network that I love being part of that. Like even if I'm just managing, you can see how many opportunities you can have and how amazing the people joining this network are. So all these people that all the fellows, some learners, tutors, they will join this alumni network and get access to career opportunities, networking sessions, participate in a global event every year that we have the Internet Society Community Week. And of course, you would be identified as potential speakers or attendees for specific events that we identify. As I know, the topic of this conversation today is really how to engage in the different forums that we have on the global internet. So this being part of this network guarantees you that you will be identified as, I would say, a champion. So you can be reached out if, for instance, there is something in your country that you can attend, or if you have a speaking opportunity on a topic that you are an expert in. So being part of this network will help you be on spot and participate on the different events and have your seat at a table that sometimes you don't have because of a lack of opportunities or just because you ignore that things are happening. So with this, you will never ignore because you will have all the information you need to be always posted. Okay, so with this, I'm gonna stop and see if there are any questions in the chat or maybe someone can answer directly. And I'm gonna put in the chat the links to the different pages that we have. Thank you very much for having
Yeah,
me here today.
Thank you so much, Angel, Alejandro, for the presentation. So next, so you have the floor, Angel.
Oh, thank you very much. Sorry, I lost you for a second, but I understand the next one to speak. I want to thank, first of all, the organizers for inviting the IGF Secretariat to join you. It was wonderful to hear from colleagues that spoke before me, very informative, and it's, I guess, on the pleasure of all, always a learning experience because so many things in terms of the capacity development exist in the ecosystem and they are continuously being approved. So every time this opportunity rises, for us, it's always useful to catch up with the new updates. Thank you very much. As you said, my name is Anya Gingo. I work at the IGF Secretariat. The IGF Secretariat is an office based at the United Nations regional office here in Geneva, in Switzerland, that whose main task is to facilitate the implementation of the Internet Governance Forum as a process that I will be speaking in the next couple of minutes. We are probably in the busiest period of the year now for our office, just because the 17th annual IGF meeting is approaching very soon. So next week we are off to Addis Ababa in Ethiopia, where officially the 17th annual IGF meeting will start on 28th of November all the way until 2nd of December of this year. Let me please share a couple of slides that I have with you. So just a second, please. Okay, you should be able to see it probably. So in the couple of minutes, I would like to first of all say a few words about what the IGF is as a concept, and then I would like us to focus more on what's coming up to us in just a couple of days. Many of us, I'm sure, here also present on the call are among the fortunate ones that will be in person in Addis Ababa at the 17th IGF. But if you are not among those, then certainly the IGF is hosted in a hybrid format, so connecting and participating online is definitely an option. As I said at the beginning, I mentioned the word project, and the Internet Governance Forum is a project, better yet, maybe a process that exists within the umbrella of the United Nations. It has quite a long and not so simple history. But for the purposes of this meeting, allow me just to remind on the two very important phases of the United Nations World Summit on the Information Society, in short, WSIS. Those two phases in 2003 and 2005 were really important to allow the community, not just the member states through the traditionally multilateral process of the United Nations, but also other stakeholders to speak up and to call for forming a process, a forum, an arena where everyone as equals will be able to raise and discuss issues that are related to Internet governance. One of the first steps was to, first of all, define or describe what Internet governance is, and that's been done by the working group on Internet governance that's been composed of different stakeholders of different backgrounds. We are still functioning on the basis of that working definition of Internet governance, and it's extremely important because that's a recognition of the multi-stakeholder model. I'm sure you can see it on the screen. In short, the Internet governance is being described as development and application by governments, the private sector, civil society, in their respective roles of shared principles, norms, rules, decision-making procedures, and programs that shape the evolution and use of the Internet. Building on this definition and building on the final output of the WSIS phases, which is the Tunis Agenda for the Information Society as an official document, the IGF was given birth and was given the mandate. The first annual meeting was hosted in early 2006, well, in late 2006 in Athens in Greece. And the rest is pretty much a history. We've come a long way. This year marks the 17th year of the IGF. And as I said, we are hosted by the government of Ethiopia just in a couple of days. Structurally speaking, the IGF is composed of a couple of interconnected components. Allow me just to mention the very few, which are, I think, the heart of the IGF. Certainly, all the people gathered around the IGF and its intersectional work, which is the work happening between the two annual meetings. But on a more formal side, the program of the IGF has been advised on by the members of the Multi-Stakeholder Advisory Group. The MAG is currently chaired by Mr. Paul Mitchell, the first chair coming from the private sector, and it has 40 members coming from different stakeholder groups, different regional groups, but also has full gender parity across it. I know that we also have had good representation on the MAG coming from Nigeria and the region where you are in. In addition to the MAG, as of this year, we have the so-called leadership panel. The leadership panel is a 15-member group composed of experts and leaders from very high level, whose task is to, complex task is to, first of all, bring more visibility to the IGF, but also make it more advanced, more relevant to the world and the current challenges of digital public policy. And also to help translate the valuable outputs and outcomes the IGF produces at the end of its cycle every year into practice and into where it could be useful. So to bring it closer to the decision makers, to those that are thinking about making decisions, to have their decisions informed. And then additional structure, as I mentioned at the beginning, is the office where I'm that's the IGF Secretariat, which acts as a neutral facilitator of the overall process and makes sure that the IGF fulfills its mandate. The IGF Secretariat institutionally is placed with the Department of Economic and Social Affairs, which physically resides at the UNHQ in New York. In terms of the funding is completely extra budgetary. In other words, the IGF depends on donations. And the donations relate to donors coming from different stakeholder groups, so ranging from governments to technical communities to even academic and research institutions and other non-governmental sector, as well as to the private sector. Core principles of the IGF, just outlined by the document that gives mandate to it, the Tunis Agenda for the Information Society, relate to a couple of very important values. The first one is multi-stakeholder, and I'm sure you already put two and two together when I was speaking about the MAG, about the leadership panel, about the intersectional work briefly mentioned. The fact is that, and also of course, the definition of the internet governance itself, the whole philosophy here is that we need everyone to work for the internet that we all want. And Alejandra spoke a little bit before me about the really importance and value of having one open, free, interoperable, safe and secure internet. And as such, it can only be put in existence and maintained and protected by everyone discussing as equals its very complex features, ranging from the technical part all the way to the policy part. In addition to being multi-stakeholder, the IGF runs on the principles of inclusion and openness, transparency, but also bottom-up decision-making processes. That means that everything, all outputs and outcomes produced at the end of the year really do come from people. And the concept of open consultations is basically a modus operandi of everything that the IGF is working on the substance. I mentioned at the beginning, 17th annual IGF meeting is soon to be hosted by the government of Ethiopia. And you can see here all the governments that had hosted the IGF in past. So last year, for example, we were in Poland. Before that, there were really ranges of government. We are very fortunate this year to go back to Africa after over 10 years since the last time the IGF was hosted in Nairobi in Kenya. This is just to illustrate a little bit the atmosphere at the IGF. So it's always quite vibrant, quite busy, It's an excellent opportunity to meet different people from different backgrounds, different countries, different regions, who may share the same interest as you or may not, but they're very important to be consulted. Certainly, you can see here the Secretary General, as the original convener of the IGF, is traditionally opening the meeting, and that's the expectation of this year as well. I mentioned at the beginning the whole cycle of the IGF and the fact that the consultative bottom-up nature really reflects throughout the planning process of the IGF. So you can see here on this cycle, on the sketch, just very quickly what the IGF is all about, from the initial planning and consultation with the community toward the MAG, determining what's the focus of the insertional work, gathering inputs from the community to put together the agenda, all the way to all of us meeting in person or online on the occasion of the annual IGF meeting. These upcoming 5 days of the IGF is not, of course, everything that we work on and for throughout the year. That's just one part of the IGF as a process. I mentioned the insertional work as the work that's happening in between the 2 annual meetings. So concretely this year, we've been very busy in working with people, stakeholders, organizations, individuals across the world on 2 best practice forums on cybersecurity and gender and digital rights, on 2 policy networks on internet fragmentation and meaningful access. And in addition, we have 24 dynamic coalitions, which are continuously working on different issues throughout the year, really independently from where the annual meeting is hosted and when. And if you visit the IGF website, you can notice that there's really a huge variety of issues that DCs are focusing on. So, for example, if you're interested maybe with the Internet of Things or domain name system or access or human rights online and so on, then there are plenty of ways to connect with these multi-stakeholder networks of institutions and individuals and start contributing, but also start building your partnerships, cooperation, and your networks. And then I think, was it Caleb or somebody else that was mentioning before me, the concept of the national, regional, sub-regional, and youth IGFs. We are very fortunate that the IGF, after it has been convened shortly after, inspired many stakeholders from around the world on starting their own IGF processes. So in short, there are now 156 countries and regions running their NRIs, national, regional, or sub-regional processes. Sometimes they can be really youth specifically focused. And certainly Nigeria is one of the national IGFs who I believe pioneered the whole practice, given the year that it's been established and also given the really extensive journey that it's been through. It's been a wonderful learning example for all of us. And I see that Mary is on this call. She is the pioneer when it comes about internet governance, ambassadors or people who really made a change somewhere in the world, including through her work on establishing the Nigerian IGF together with other colleagues, but also the West African IGF, for example, the African IGF. So you are in a region of a very rich capacity when it comes about internet governance. And that itself provides really huge opportunity for starting to professionally engage in internet governance because we all have stakes in it, just as mere internet users. In terms of the IGF that's coming to us, the 17th annual IGF meeting, it's a very interesting one, a very important one. I'm sure you will agree, it goes without saying, it's happening in a very important geopolitical momentum. When digital technologies are becoming more and more important, not just for our personal ways of communication and work, but really for the global different dynamics happening in the world related to economy, related to political aspects and sustainability aspects and so on. So the IGF will be having more than 300 sessions. So they're all available on the IGF website in the agenda. There's a wide variety really of issues that are covered by those sessions. Topics are connected to the main themes of the IGF related to connectivity, internet fragmentation, data governance, safety, security, accountability, all the way to advanced technologies, for example, such as the AI. All this is nested under the main overarching theme of the IGF, which is resilient internet for a shared, sustainable, and common future. The IGF certainly expects quite a number of the high-level leaders, which will take place throughout the 5 days through a couple of sessions focused on matters such as access and data, also connectivity. So there will be a number of heads of governments, heads of private sector organizations, technical community institutions, IGOs, civil society organizations, and beyond this. In addition, the IGF is having a parliamentary track. So the parliamentary track is focused on engaging parliamentarians in matters related to safety and security and the way digital policies could enable that. We have over, I think, 50, 60 parliaments confirmed their participation. And the roundtable will be an interesting opportunity to understand how legislators, so those who are coining laws, who are the decision makers, are engaging in a dialogue with other stakeholders of different backgrounds. And I hope that you will be able to participate actively in that roundtable. In addition, somebody mentioned, I think it was Alejandra, about the importance of investment into new generation of experts and leaders. The IGF Secretariat, but also other structures with the IGF cannot agree more with this. And because of that, the youth track is something that's very, very important to the IGF. It's certainly central to its program. Throughout the year, we've been working with young people gathered around or with the youth IGFs, but also different youth international focused organizations, such, for example, as ISOC and the work Alejandra and her colleagues are doing. To understand what young people see in terms of opportunities, but also challenges on digital transformation, and how can we build better capacity there, what could be done now for those that will take the positions of power and impact tomorrow to be in better conditions than we are now. So we had 4 capacity development workshops hosted back-to-back with big regional IGFs. And we are now entering really the finishing phase for hosting the IGF 2022 Global Youth Summit on digital transformation on 28th of November from the IGF 2022 venue in Addis Ababa. Certainly, if you cannot participate in person there, then I do encourage you to connect online and make sure to have your voice heard there. This is pretty much what I wanted to say. There are so many parts that I wanted to bring up, but I know we're limited in time. The IGF Village will also take place at the IGF in Addis Ababa. Those are basically exhibition spaces for different organizations dealing with internet governance. And I believe a really good practical opportunity for all of you to connect with these organizations and understand how can you maybe benefit from their work. How can you connect better and partner better with these excellent organizations? Again, if you cannot be in Addis and if you cannot connect with these organizations at the IGF Village in person, the IGF Village will have its counterpart online. So you can also connect online with these organizations, and I do strongly encourage you to explore those opportunities and to do so. I will stay here, of course, for any questions that you may have, and I want to thank the organizers once again for the invitation, for this time given, and looking forward to your inputs and hopefully to see many of you in Addis very soon. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Angel, for that rich presentation. So right now, let me invite our final speaker for today in person of Sarah Keating. Sarah has been a beneficiary of Mozilla Fellowship, though she doesn't work with Mozilla, but she has been a beneficiary of most of their fellowship opportunities. So right now, let me yield the floor to Sarah Keating. Sarah, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to this event. So I did not prepare slides, but I'll speak from my heart, and I hope that will benefit. Also, thank you to the speakers who went before me. It was really nice to learn from all of you. So my name is Sarah Kiden, and I am a technologist and a researcher, and I've been invited to speak to you about how you can engage in the policy space within Mozilla. So Buki has given a disclaimer that I'm currently not affiliated with Mozilla as an employee or a fellow. I recently completed a 3-year fellowship, but I've been in the ecosystem for about 5 years now. So before we dive in, I just wanted to mention something that one of my mentors shared with me, and another colleague who is new in the space and they're trying to find their place. And my mentor mentioned something that I reflect on a bit. He was saying that if you want to engage in one of the policy spaces, you should not think about the fellowships. Like, that's not the first thing that should come to your mind. Rather, you should think about what you want to contribute into that space and what you want to get out of the experience. And I really like this kind of framing because it helps you to be focused on what you want. So you go into the experience to give something, and in turn, normally, most times you benefit something. So it could be maybe you want to gain experience in a particular area. Maybe you want to learn how to organize events or coordinate events, or you want to learn a new skill like managing grants or policy development and so on. But in order for you to do this, of course, you have to put in some work. So with that said, I think let's talk about ways in which you can contribute to policy within Mozilla. I've found that Mozilla is one of those organizations, and I think everyone who has spoken before, from ICANN to ISOC to Afrinic and to the IGF, those are spaces where people care about the open web, they care about ethics and trustworthiness of systems. So it's really refreshing to see that there are organizations that care about the human in the technology. So the very first way you can engage in Mozilla would be through the Mozilla Festival, or you'll hear people saying MozFest. It's a global event. Now it's hybrid in nature. And I would say that it's an conference. So it's not your regular panel style. It's usually more interactive, more facilitators and participants engaging in dialogue. It can be in the form of a short film. Some people have done art exhibitions where they, I remember there's a time somebody was trying to demonstrate something about your Facebook data and what happens with it. So it can take on any form. And there are many ways. I've even seen sessions which are led by young people who are below 18 years. I think one of my favorite was led by someone who was a teenager. So the nice thing is you can have all age groups come to this meeting, and all kinds of professions, all kinds of backgrounds. So in the Mozilla Festival, you can be a wrangler. So wranglers are community organizers. You come together, you meet other wranglers, and you put the event together. So you go from suggesting possible themes, then you create a space. That's what the themes are called. So you curate a space. For example, when I was a wrangler, I was in the sustainability space. So we will talk about sustainability. What does sustainability mean on the internet or in technology? And then you put out a call for proposals, receive them, review them, and then support facilitators. So it's quite a bit of work putting this together, but it's very fulfilling. And I was a wrangler in 2020 and 2021. And when we came for the first meeting, we had an empty Google document, and seeing us going from an empty Google document to an event that was attended virtually by over 8,000 people, like, it was very, very fulfilling. So the second way, if you're not a wrangler, you can be a facilitator. And to be a facilitator, basically you propose a session. The call for proposals is out, I think, until December. I'll post the link on the chat if you're interested. And the third way is you can just come as a participant to contribute to discussions. So that's MozFest, 3 ways to engage. Then I've created a document with all the links, so I'll post it at the end of my talk. So the next way is through the Internet Health Report. So it's a report that Mozilla puts out every year. and it combines research and stories and publishes them to just explore what does it mean for the internet to be healthy. So it takes different forms each year. This year, for example, it was a podcast, and the podcast host worked with different communities in South Africa, in India, and in Brazil and other places to understand what they were doing in relation to the gig economy, how they're applying artificial intelligence in medicine, for example, people who are doing fact checking on Twitter, which I think now you know that some of these initiatives are really important. So that it takes different forms. Previous years, they've done reports. I know, like, for example, Bookie contributed to the 2020 report. And basically, I think the discussion was around what's the best and the worst on the internet. That particular year, if you remember, 2020 was the year when COVID-19 changed our lives as we knew it. So that is through the Internet Health Report. You can help to, there are years I've not really contributed much. I've helped to read through and review some of the content. There are years I've taken a more active role where I've been part of, contributing to the theme. So you just decide what you feel is best for you. Then the other way is through the fellowships. I think everyone who has spoken before me has talked about fellowships. There are so many kinds of fellowships within Mozilla. So I'll start with the Open Web Pod, Mozilla Open Web Fellowship. You are hosted by a host organization. So this is how I came into Mozilla. I did a 10-month fellowship. So you work on a project of interest to you and to the organization. And in my case, we were doing work around internet measurements. And I met Amresh, who is now working with ISOC. That's really nice, actually. So we analyzed data from speed test applications and did quality of service analysis, and then made policy recommendations. And policy being like more long-term. So policy, you can't, I've not seen cases where you change policy in like 1 month or 2 months. It takes a long time. So I did the fellowship from 2017 to 2018. And it's until 2019 that I started seeing some of the recommendations we had made. For example, Uganda was one of the countries we made recommendations. The broadband policy, like a lot of the things in the policy were things we had recommended. The communal access license, we had worked with people to propose that license, and then somehow the regulator responded to it. So that was really nice. It's been one of the things I'm really proud of up to now. But there are other fellowships like the Common Voice Fellowship. So the fellows in this fellowship are trying to work with communities to collect voice data in many languages. And I know many of these organizations are now trying to work towards making the internet multilingual. So you can do that through the Common Voice Fellowship, the Data Futures, which does projects on data stewardship. Then the one I just recently completed, so I've done 2, is a 3-year fellowship. It's a sort of doctoral program between Mozilla and a university. In my case, it was Northumbria University, where we were working on building open, secure, and trustworthy Internet of Things. So 5 of us on the project got to work on different aspects of Internet of Things, and we're sort of in the write-up phase right now. Then there are senior fellows who work on issues around trustworthy artificial intelligence, so things around bias, transparency, data governance, and so on and so forth. Coming to the end, responsible computing projects, where fellowships where you work with institutions of learning and you try to shape the curriculum in terms of trying to ensure that ethics is part of the computer science curriculum. So yeah, and actually right now there's a grant that's open if you're interested in shaping computer science curriculum like that. I'll share that also shortly. There are tech society, tech policy, web monetization, and so many other fellowships. So I think finally I'll just mention that there are grants that you can apply for to support some of your community initiatives. There's the Africa Morality in Real Life Fund for people working at the intersection of social justice and technology. There are awards for people who are using art and other forms of media to examine the role of technology So I think, as I mentioned before, I've seen someone demonstrating Facebook data, but you can use different forms. You can create a short film and just so apply for that fund and do that project. And finally, the one I talked about for the responsible computer science challenge. Yeah, I think I'll stop here for now, and I'll post the links onto the chat, and happy to take any questions from anyone. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Sarah, for that. And now let me hand over the floor to my co-moderator to handle the next session, which is the Q&A. Most of our speakers are still around. So over to you, Akimbo, Adebumi Akimbo.
Thank you so much, Bukola. And thank you all to all our facilitators. It's been a wonderful time having to listen to experts in the business and in the circle, from Sarah Nush down to Sarah Kidden, which of course I've known over the years. I've also had the opportunity to have benefited from one or two fellowships. And I know, like I told a lot of people who have cared to listen in the mentorship sessions, it's always good to come around to the internet to add value rather than running after becoming a fellow. So based on that, ever attentive audience are all eager to ask one or two questions and also to participate in our survey, considering the whole lot of information we've gathered today, your opportunity to actually be a fellow and to take charge of the opportunity the grants will give to you. So having said this, ground rules, you could raise your hand. If you have posted a question on the chat room, I should be able to see it right about now. So if you have any question, kindly use, use the icon to raise your hand or simply post it in the chat room. Considering our schedule for today, if there are no questions, it means our facilitators have done their duty by doing the right thing, sharing their slides, sharing links. If some of you are checking out the chat room, you would see also that Sarah Kidden has shared some opportunity links for you and I to take charge of or to make good use of. The internet always brings opportunity. We have over 50 number of participants in the room, including our facilitators. Okay, so I guess one of our admin is, as we speak, ISOC, the Internet Society, is running the event live on a live feed. I presume that the president has shared the feed with us as we started the program. I may not know why we can't copy some things on the chat, but I presume that's something we could always take care of. Mr. President, Caleb, please, could you handle that? That being said, I will be sharing the survey link on the chat room. I just did that. So please, as a member of this particular webinar, you could always go now and fill in a survey. While that is going on, I will quickly, while waiting for those other questions and hands up, I've seen none so far, so good. I would quickly recognize some of our legends in the room. Permit me to recognize other executive members here in the room also. I see Lawrence Roberts, Lawrence Olawale Roberts. Thanks for joining us. I see Lawrence Olawale Roberts belongs to the ICANN business community. And also, fortunately, he is a member of the board of directors at the Nigerian Internet Registration Association. I see Mary Uduma. We call her Mommy Uduma, or some of us just simply call her Mommy, the face of Internet Governance Forum in Nigeria and Africa as we speak. A member of one of the members that we worked with during the Ayana transition. Also, she has another name, Mommy Nira, having been one of the first founding members of the board of directors, and then later president of Nigerian Internet Registration Association. Okay, so I'm still going down. I see Sheun Ojedeji, a lecturer and experienced leader in the ICANN circle also. We welcome you all. Currently is the Afralo chair, that's Sheun, and also a Mozilla fellow. Sheun, as I normally or fondly call him, you're welcome. While still waiting for hands or questions, I am going to recognize Adewale Adedokun, former African board member and a staunch member of the Internet Society Nigerian chapter. I also recognize his great work at the NGPIF and NGNOG. I hope I've recognized my co-executive, the likes of Priscilla, Financial Secretary, and also Chinwe, our Program Secretary. Yes, I will not be forgetting the indomitable Vice President, Engineer. You're welcome. Okay, that being said, in the absence of any question, I will be handing over back to Bukola. Bukola, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Over to you. Oh, sorry. Before I hand over to Bukola, I recognize Victor was with us for some time. Probably he has left the room. Victor happens to be one of our very few leaders controlling and ensuring the stability of ISOC in Africa. We really appreciate his presence, even if he has left. Thank you. Bukola, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Akimbo. And so I want to say a huge thank you to all our participants and most especially all our speakers. Thank you, Cyrano. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Alejandro. Thank you, Anja. And thank you to Brice, though he had to leave earlier. So once again, thank you all for honoring this invitation. I'm sure from the wealth of your presentation, all our members have learned a lot. And just like Sarah advised, we are not just in for the fellowships, we are in what can we contribute to make the internet open, to make it safe, to contribute our quota to the policy development processes all around us. So once again, we look forward to more of this and we hope to see you, all our speakers again in future webinars. Thank you, everyone. And that's it for the pre-AGM webinar. After a short break, we'll be starting with our AGM, Internet Society Nigeria chapter. Thank you once again and see you soon.